Then it was shortly after that that I was told that I was going to be visited by Sue, or Sue told me that I was going to be visited, and that I would know that I'd be visited if something had been out of place in my apartment. And so they did come visit, and I had woken up to the feeling of liquid draining out of my left ear, and I didn't know what had gone on at that point. But what I had discovered was that through my same friend who had introduced me to the Ponte, he explained that he said that Drudy was waiting for him too, because she had to do a procedure on him too about putting, about some kind of liquid to help clear our consciousness. And then all of a sudden I'm like putting the two together, and I ran up to my pillow and saw where my pillow was, where that liquid drained out, was this reddish brown stain. And what was happening was, for the next 7 days, my body was exfoliating chemicals, heavy metals, ammonia, that I could smell in my urine, and it was just crazy. And my ears were sore for 7 days, but by the 7th day, my consciousness had changed, and it was like my head had been completely cleared, and I never realized how much heavy metals and poisons are in our foods that actually clog up our brains so that our consciousness is not clear. And they repeated the procedure a month later. And after the second procedure, I was able to access any part of my brain and be able to focus on a certain area. It's the same like flexing a muscle. If I want to think about flexing my arm, I could flex my muscle. I could flex areas in my brain just by focusing on these areas of my brain.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so what I realized, the reason why they did this was because it was to help with my telepathic projection, to become a really good capacitor for projecting my telepathy. And they said, we can hear you really clear now. So, and I believe that was really part of the process to help with my telepathic projection of my music.
I can tell you a couple of things. When you started chatting with Tani and the Sandia crew, you began immediately interested in carrying on detailed conversations about specific subject matters that you knew very well, and asking them how it overlapped with their culture, and taking that overlap and then applying it to your music writing and going even deeper with questions and understanding. I guess what I'm saying is, you were one of the very first who took a specific interest in a subject matter that you knew well and started asking the Ponte detailed questions, applying their information, taking it to the next level up after that, asking more detailed questions, applying it, and continuing to build on and learn more about telepathy, music writing, tonal languages.
Tonal language.
Because they have a staff member come through and rotate through that was an aquatic expert. Thera was their cetacean
expert of
language person.
Yes, the tonal language of the cetaceans and the whales was her expertise.
Oh, and by the way, tonal language is a language that would be akin to a song language. Like a bird has a song language, a whale has a song language. So any language that involves changes in pitch, instead of, say, words. Could be whistling, it could be guitar music, it could be piano music, it could be flute, whatever it is, but it doesn't necessarily mean a language that has vowels, consonants, words like ours does.
It's tones.
So it is tones.
And it's length of tones. It's the emotion behind the tones. It's the in between notes of the tones, because we're used to having certain intervals within the scales. The tonal language is more fluid than that. It's more fluid than that.
So you kept coming back to the Twitter account because there were parts of it that rang true to you, that were talking about different information than you had seen from other sources, like the archaeoplanetography and like the teaching of telepathy that Tani was doing, and which eventually became the manual that the Ponte wrote to help Earth humans increase the skill set that they have with their telepathic sending and receiving.